Hello again, my name's Rocco from Vita Health and Fitness, and we're stuck in isolation, no gyms to go to or no cafes or restaurants. So what do? Is make some sourdough bread. Carbs, carbs, carbs. So it's probably a bit different from my other recipes, which is low carb, but sourdough is better for your gut health, and you can opt for rye flour. And I really stress that you need to get proper flour to make the sourdough. Otherwise, it's not gonna taste right and not gonna raise. I bought some White Wings white premium flour because that's all I could find at Coles, and all that time and effort waiting for 10 hours and the bread didn't turn out good. So you need to go to your organic store or go online. Actually, probably best go online. Do not go to the stores if you can help it, because I don't think it is an essential to make sourdough bread, but just go online and buy in bulk like I did. It's a lot cheaper. So I've got rye and Baker's organic flour, and I mix them too, and I've got the starter. So let's talk about the starter, which I had no idea what I was doing at the start. So my friend from the garden gave me some of his starter, which I think is 10 years in the making. So and then after, what you need to do is, because I've used this to make my bread today, which I'm going to show you. So you get a bit of a starter. It's sort of like runny, and it's got the fermentation, the bubbles, and you can smell it. It smells good. And I need to feed this and place it out for about 5 hours and place it in the fridge. So when I want to make it again, I do the same process, leave it out for 5 hours, make sure it's bubbly, and then after you add water and flour, which I'll let you know. So I experimented as well, because I made my own with the white sourdough starter, and I used a lot more rye, which I'm using today in our experiment sourdough. And you can see it's all bubbled up, you probably can't see, and it really smells like it's working. So I'll just let you know. So if you get a friend or ask your local bakery, hopefully they'll give you a bit of a starter, and that can last for years, and just place it in the fridge. So I'm going to feed the white organic flour starter with 1/4 of flour, baker's flour, and 1/4 of water, and I use chopsticks. Don't have to, but just easier. It makes less mess, because this starter sometimes sticks to everything, so it's just easy to wash off, and it mixes well on the starter. So basically, this is going to ferment and make bubbles, and you leave it for 5 hours. Place a light lid on there and leave it out for 5 hours, and place it in the fridge. And when you're ready to make bread again, take it out. You can feed it, leave it for 5 hours. Let it bubble, and just give some extra to your friends, and just it grows and grows. It should come up to double after 5 hours. I usually place a rubber band so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to feed the rye one. So rye is a lot more healthier for you. You can do a mixture if you like. And there's 1/4 of water. Use a different chopstick. And this this jar is probably a little bit small, because it's going to raise up in 5 hours. It's going to overflow. So, because I'm not going to the shops, I'm just using what I've got. So this is actually a cocktail mixer. So don't tell Roy. So I'm going to place that there. Roy's my partner, by the way. So let's make the bread. So, and don't be disheartened if it doesn't work out the first or second time. My first one went really well. Then after I used that White Wings flour, because that's all I could find, and it was a disaster. It didn't raise, and just had to throw it away. And it's 10 hours in the making, and you get disappointed. So especially in times like this, you want to have some success in your bread making, so you can enjoy it, because you're stuck at home. So I've placed 180 grams, which is 3/4 cup of starter. I'm using the rye. Then after some water, about 230 grams of water. So I'll place the recipe in the description. Remember to follow my YouTube channel and Facebook. I've got cookbooks and Pilates download DVDs, and I'm doing Zoom Pilates now, which you can join. So that's all done. So now the flour, I've got a combo. So last night, or the week before actually, I made just rye bread. Rye bread doesn't tend to rise as much, so I'm doing a mixture. So some rye flour, and then the white flour, and mix it all together. So once you get the routine, it's pretty easy. The sourdough is a lot more stickier than the normal yeast bread. So, and if you are intolerant to gluten, you can make your own gluten-free starter. So just making sure we mix it all. So, and this probably needs a little bit more water to blend it in. So, you just try the recipe and just grab some water. And once you get the routine of making the bread, it's really rewarding, and there's nothing like kitchen smelling like fresh sourdough bread. The other week didn't make sourdough, I made because I had some yeast, and the sourdough I find lasts longer in the out in the fridge, and it's a lot more airier and easier to digest. So it's mixing it all up. So this should double in 10 hours. So you can leave it overnight, do it the night before, but I think 10 hours is a good time. Sometimes if you let it rise for too long, it loses its ability to rise in the oven. So now I have to place we have some salt. And mix it in. So that's, as you can see, it's all gooey, and in 10 hours time I'm going to come back and I'm going to fold it with, I don't want to make mess, because a lot of the sourdough YouTube channels have got so many bowls, tea towels, and I've got it in a small apartment, so I don't want to make too much mess. I'm using this bowl, and I'm going to, once it's 10 hours, it's doubled, I'm going to use either a cake tin, which I used, or I bought this from Woolies, $12. Or if you've got a Dutch oven, you can heat up your Dutch oven and place it in there, which I haven't got. And I use, because I haven't got a Dutch oven, I use a pizza stone, so that it gets nice and warm. Keep that up. So, so once that's mixed up, so it's pretty easy. Once you've got the starter, you can double up the recipe if you've got a large oven. Just make two. Just be careful. Sometimes making too many loaves in one oven, the heat generation may not be even. So just stick to one and see how you go first. So some Glad wrap. Leave it out for 10 hours, and I'll see you in 10 hours time. Welcome back. 10 hours later, worked, and I waited for this to rise, and it has, as you can see. And basically I removed the Glad wrap, and it's tripled in size actually, which is great. And I'm going to add some more flour. It's called the fold technique, and I'm going to let it set for another 2 hours in the tin, or you can use your Dutch oven or just an oven-proof dish, but make sure you use baking paper, a bit of flour, and spray on some olive oil. So I'm just going to add a bit more flour and use my hands. I'm going to fold, and this recipe is a minimum need. So, but you need to just do a little bit. Add in some flour, and this will help form the sourdough dough, and we're going to place it in the tin, because like I said, I want to make less mess. We don't need tea towels too much. But one thing I forgot to tell you, when you set this for 10 hours like before, use the Glad wrap and then use a tea towel over it. So I'm just going to fold it, just fold that in, as you can see, a little bit more flour. So So it's a different texture from normal bread. So it's a little bit more like cake mixture, and that's this technique I'm using. So 10 hours, and then after you add a bit of flour, fold, and then we place it into the tin. So I'm going to spray some olive oil. Make sure you do it so it doesn't stick when you bake. So I'm just going to add this, and it's good not to use too much bowls or tins, because you don't want to make too much mess. You want to make it simple, and that's why people are reluctant to do to make sourdough bread, because there's so much process involved. But I'm trying to make it simple. So there you go. It looks like a little cake. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of herbs, some nice herbs. Well, actually, we're going to wait for 2 hours, and we'll add the herbs just before we place in the oven. So what we're going to do is place Glad wrap on here, and then the tea towel, wait for probably 2 hours, and make sure just before you place it into the oven, you heat up your oven nice and hot, and you can use those pizza plates if you're using a tin, or you can use your Dutch oven, heat the Dutch oven on. So then after, you have to transfer this paper dough into the Dutch oven that's hot. Make sure you don't burn your hands. I'll see you in 2 hours. I'm gonna have my dinner now, and I'll see you later. Ciao. So I'm back, and it's been 2 hours proving, which means it's raised double in size, which is great. So I'm gonna add some Tuscan herbs. So some days you can make some beautiful nuts and dates and walnuts. Depends what mood you're in. You can double the recipe, as it takes a while to make. So you can have two, one savoury, one sweet, and place it in the oven. I've got the pizza stone plate in the oven, so it heats up, because I'm not using a Tupperware, so it'll be nice and hot. So and then after, I'm going to put some poppy seeds as well. I love some poppy seeds. As you can see, make sure that you've lined the tin with paper and sprayed olive oil, and I'm just going to do a nice clean slice in the middle, so that will form so the air goes up so it doesn't split the sourdough bread, and the oven's nice and warm, and I'm going to bake it for at least 30 to 40 minutes, and it'll be ready soon. And here we go, this beautiful sourdough with rye and organic white flour. It smells great, and it's crusty and beautiful, and this is what it looked like when you slice it. You have to wait till it cools down. Beautiful with olive oil for breakfast, for lunch, and you can keep it out and it lasts at least 4 or 5 days. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.